Should probably rename the channel to Everything USB Pro. So just got two of these. I'm not gonna read them, but they're these gooseneck flexible type lights, and I mean all the tech YouTubers have them. Everyone has them. Had to have them, right? And indeed, right. So I do end up needing extra light on some particular jobs, right? Especially no one's getting younger, except myself, of course. And yeah, so I did get two of these. However, I'm kind of pissed off about the supply situation. So they have these super cool looking, solid as a rock power supplies. There's 7 volts. They're actually 6.9. I did measure them. 43 milliamps, so super low current, only 3 watts. And I just have 2 sockets, right? So those two. And I really don't have time to waste with, right, 2 of them, both 100% of them being filled up, right? So I initially thought of cracking this open, which would be a monumental task, right? These are super well welded together, most likely ultrasonically. However, this special jack, first of all, I'm pretty happy that they didn't use standard laptop adapters. The standard 2.5 2mm barrel jack, so they've used this the special kind, right? I mean, Bose used a regular barrel jack, right, like this, right? So Bose used a regular barrel jack on their actually this is something else, on their SoundLink Mini 1, right? And the moment people would plug in a laptop adapter, right, that thing was 12 volts. Laptop adapters are 19 and up, or 16 and up, right? So it would immediately fry what was essentially a $200 product at launch, right? And so yeah, no, I'm very happy to see that IKEA used a proprietary port, even though this is usually a bad thing. In this case, sure is pretty good to see it. And so yeah, initially I thought of removing this jack thing, which seems pretty modular, making a little case with a booster and an arbitrary amount of these outputs, right? So right now I have 2, but I would leave space for more, and just have kind of a light hub type deal, maybe with switches and some shit. And then I got to my senses, right? 30 minutes passed, and then I realized that that's a stupid idea, like most of my ideas. And so what I ended up with is going with one of these booster modules. I'll link them in the description. These are 30 cents plus $1 shipping, right? Some sellers will charge double the shipping if you buy 2 of these, so watch out for that crap. But usually, right, just writing booster or boost 2 amps 2A will find them. And these are the smallest form factors. There's ones that are a bit longer, but that's pretty pointless. And there's ones that have a micro USB on one side. But anyway, these are pretty efficient, pretty good, pretty low quiescent current. I think they even have short circuit protection, but anyway, and they go up pretty high. I don't remember. They'll for sure be able to boost 5 volts to 7. I think they go to 20 volts or some shit like that. I don't know. Yeah, so I also initially tried powering one of these from 5 volts directly, and it barely glows. Like, it's borderline that you can see the diodes, right? This probably has 2 white LEDs in series, and that's why it needs a lot more than 5, right? And yeah, so basically I took one of these, not this one, but this one, and chopped off its corners, because what I plan to do, what I realized could be done, right, is simply chop off this and have a USB there and have a local booster. So on this side they have this strain relief situation going with this clear plastic grub screw, so that was very beautiful. Took that out, and then they have 2 layers of heat shrink, so 1 per cable and a big one, and you can simply chop that off with one of these wire cutters. And yeah, so basically that's the point where I decided to make a recording because, yeah, why not? I mean, who doesn't want to see this? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Be honest with yourself, right? I mean, and yeah, so basically the plan is to get the booster board on this side, probably potentiometer further away. And so apparently I haven't chopped off enough of it, but yeah, in due time, right? And have that be here, and just simply have the wires loop via this, and then you can actually adjust the intensity and also potentially destroy your LED, because you could go haywire and just feed 20 volts into it, but let's be honest, it's gonna be your own doing. All right, so let's, I'll just do a time-lapse type speed up deal of the proceedings, and we'll come back in real time at the end. Alright, so now let's quickly check the polarity of the wire. I mean, I would say that white should be plus, however, I don't know if the designers at IKEA have the same taste, so let's see. Oh my god, what is happening? Oh, switch was off. Alright, so white is indeed plus, so that is correct. Alright, so this doesn't look too pretty, but yeah. Alright, and now another problem will be getting these wires to all the way over there, so unfortunately I think we will have to extend them. Ah, man, this is a pain in the ass, but yeah, it is what it is. Alright, by the way, this was plugged in during all of this, which, yeah, I did not intend for, but yeah. Let's actually, yeah, let's first test out if it works or not, because right now I did touch all around this and solder to it while live, so, man. Right, I mean, it's the cost of being stupid, I suppose. Zoom back in a tiny bit, and the way I'll do this is by means of this always on 5-volt power bank with one of my XT60 adapters. Right, this goes to this, and what I did last time was just attach 2 short pieces of wire to it and jam that into the hyper proprietary connector. So let's get this done. Okay. Now I think polarity has just gotten a lot more important, but who knows? Alright, just have this here. So negative would be on the outside, which again is a nice touch, right? I mean, nobody likes, and I just stabbed myself. Nobody likes center negative stuff, right? I am correctly assuming. Alright, so this is kind of bright. Let's get a power reading on this. So if it were, like assuming 100% efficiency and the same power, we would expect 3 watts. So let's see what we actually get and then adjust this down, because I do actually want to drive the LED a bit lower than factory. Alright, so we actually have quite a bit less current even, so alright. Somehow I think this is brighter than the actual supply, but meh. This is perfectly usable. So I'll fit a USB connector to this and we'll measure the exact voltage it runs at, because now I would need around about 7 hands to do that, so yeah. But again, 1.4 watts, super chill, right? What I also want to do is tidy up these wires a tiny amount, as much as possible, because I don't know, why not? Alright, so I am more aesthetically pleased with this. And so now we can actually go ahead and glue this in. So usually my preferred glue is silicone. Not sure if I'll go with it now though. Yeah, we'll see. First up, I think I'll have to scratch up this side, right, to get the glue to stick. And I think we'll just do epoxy this time around. Alright, so I think now it's good as time as any to put the grub screw back in, right, this transparent one. So technically we're done, right? All we need to do now is find a way to secure this in place, and I think I'll be using epoxy. Alright, so let's get that going. So this pretty cheap clear epoxy, let me see if I can show you guys a full tube. So this stuff, it's called Deli AB. It's not actually bad, right? So it does harden pretty quickly and all of that, right? So it's like a 5-minute epoxy. One thing about it though, it's I don't think it's Curie point though, but like it's the point at which it starts getting soft is pretty low, right? So you could blow on this with a hairdryer or like a heat gun at like the lowest 100 degrees and it will soften up, right? So in such an application, for example, this would be desirable. This thing will never get hot at all, right? And if the room will be at 100, then again, technically this will not be a problem. And if you do want to rework it, right, pull it out and stuff, all you need to do is heat it up with a hairdryer, pry it out, and then you can actually undo the epoxy even in one go if you have the temperatures just right? So just as a little tip. Right, so either hold that down like a peasant or get yourself one of these hook thingies, these clamp thingies, and hold it down in style. Again, we are putting a lot of pressure on the inductor, so I'm hoping it'll last, but yeah, so far so good. These don't clamp like ridiculously hard even, so yeah. Alright, let's not forget to clean the tool. I usually do this on like any paper and with a screwdriver or this thing. It makes no sense to use the plastic things they supply. Indeed, the epoxy does not stick to it, but just cleaning a flathead screwdriver or something like this up with a napkin removes all of it, and then this you could dispose of. Usually I just have some used scratch paper. Now for the video I'm super fancy and shit. But yeah. Also make sure to use like at least 2 layers of paper, because the stuff does leach through, and yeah, you don't want that crap on your table. Alright, so all that's left to do now is get this off and get a proper USB going. So I'll leave some length to it. Yeah, I still think I'd rather have it too long than too short, so I'll just snip it over here. And put this away, right? Never know when you need 7 volts at 400 milliamps, or 6.9 actually. And let me get a USB going. Alright, so again, I'll speed up through this entire process. Basically, you have these $2 per 10 or even less male USB connectors. These are the best ones because they have this key type arrangement where the thing really locks in. And what I do usually is I do put like some sanitary silicone in, just to have the wire super snug and stuff and not subjected to any sort of back and forth motion. So anyway, I'll get to that. Alright, so another little tip, right? Usually you get sanitary silicone in these huge ass tubes, right? So this size deal, and you have one of those guns. I'm not going to pull that out as well. Case in point is you will need one of those presses though to get the stuff out. Sanitary silicone, especially the acetic acid drying one, is super good though, so I love it. It sticks to a lot of metals incredibly well. It sticks to a lot of plastics incredibly well. So my plastic game isn't still up to scratch, but I do keep watching Ave, so it will eventually get there, I would assume. However, it sticks to a lot of stuff. It doesn't stick to what this is made of. It does stick to what the plunger is made of, but that's not an issue. And so a very good way of dispensing decent amounts of it, not like 5 kilos per squirt, is to use a syringe. And also in the case of the syringe and the actual big press, it's good practice to leave a little pip out, and then you can pull it out. After a while it will start sticking to the neck of the syringe, and so you'll have to basically force it around, and then you can actually get it out, right? And this stuff is great because it cures into a kind of a rubber, right? So it's first of all workable. You can cut through it. It's super strong. So if it's less than a millimeter, and like let's say a square centimeter, it's incredibly robust, right? So all the Bluetooth modules I put into car radios and stuff, when I can't have like an easy screw hole type arrangement, I just glue them down with this kind of stuff. It cures extremely slowly though, so like it takes 5 hours to 24 hours. Usually leave this stuff overnight, but once it does cure, it's super cool, it's workable, it will never crack in a vibration intense environment, right? So for those kinds of applications, it is amazing. And what it also adheres to incredibly well is PCB materials and solder resist, right? So you don't need to scratch it, no need to rough it up, no need to nothing. The acid bites into it incredibly well, so I'm incredibly happy with it. So whenever I put one of these connectors together, I just put a small amount over these keyhole things, these protrusions, and a tiny amount here. And so I think that's enough. Don't get this on your fingers though, because right, if you forget about it, I mean, you could definitely have it on your fingers, it's not going to kill you instantly, but if the risk there is you forget about it and it leaches that acid onto your skin, and then at some point it starts hurting like crazy, and at that point it's too late, right? You can wash it off, but it attacks all the layers of your skin. It hurts like you want to die. It feels like someone is sticking a nail in your thumb, so it's disastrously bad. So yeah, take my word for it. Don't try it at home. All right, so let's just add some under the cable, between the cables. All right. So this should technically bite into the insulation of the wire as well, although it depends. It doesn't do it with all of them. So let's get it on the top as well a little bit. And that should be it. And I mean, this will be disposable, right? If this needs, if I've wired it wrong, first of all, I'll make a fool of myself on YouTube, which, I mean, it's bound to happen, but also I would just redo it, right? Not try and open it and stuff. Alright, so yeah, that's kind of all of it. Let's try and actually squeeze this in a bit harder. Alright, you can see a tiny amount of silicone has dripped through, so make sure this amount, right? You get this on the top of your skin, right, and you let it sit for like 1 hour without noticing it, and yeah, now it gets super serious. Anyway, and as I've said, right, in my case it doesn't really do much, but I always leave a tiny pip, right? Clean the nozzle so it comes as straight as possible, but yeah, I heard chicks love this, so I'll leave it like that. And yeah, that's kind of it. So let's give it a quick test. So, will it work? Let's quickly get the shit out of here. And it works. Yay. So pretty powerful light. So this is the light I'm usually working with, and the plan is to get either 1 or 2 of these to really, right, if I'm doing super fine pitch stuff and stuff, and I don't know why I say stuff that often, but anyway. Yeah, basically for just super fine shit, it will be pretty helpful, as you can see. The switch, I mean, it's pretty redundant. I don't think I'll use it too much, but anyway, yeah. And I'm using 1.5, let's call it, watts. This doesn't take into account the amount of power it draws, so this wire is passing 1.5 watts, so that's pretty good, right? So we'll get like 1.3 or something into the actual LED as opposed to the claimed 3. Which, I mean, if this is the light it puts out, I'm fine with it. So yeah, that's pretty much all of it. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one.